Hello, brothers and sisters. We are living in interesting times. The economy is tanking simultaneously with a pandemic and a massive insurgency against the racism that infects this capitalist system. At the same time as U.S. imperialism's monstrous military machine is draining trillions of dollars while losing war after war against some of the poorest people on planet Earth. The capitalists are saving themselves while we sink. Washington's bought and paid for politicians gave trillions of your tax dollars to the big corporations while giving only some of us, not all of us, some of us, a paltry $1,200 that covered very little of our expenses while we sat in lockdown. The vampire of U.S. capitalism and U.S. imperialism, however, is crumbling before our eyes, and good riddance. Capitalism is destroying the planet. So what is our alternative for a better future for ourselves and the next generation? Well, that something is communism. Communism is our alternative, the only alternative. Are you happy being in debt to the banks up to your eyebrows? Are you happy working 3 jobs while trying to pay off all that debt to the banks? Are you happy to have no pension, no vacation time, no paid sick leave? Are you happy to live in a country divided by vicious racism? Are you happy seeing people of color murdered by the police for no reason? Are you happy watching the public schools crumble while your tax money is thrown away on the police, the military, and the prisons? Are you happy that the U.S. has the largest prison population on the planet? Are you happy that the rich send working and poor people to prison while the rich are the real looters and the real criminals? Are you angry about Donald Trump making racist statements and organizing fascist rallies? Are you angry about the rise of white racist and fascist thugs marching around in full camouflage, intimidating our communities while carrying automatic rifles? Are you angry about militarized stormtrooper police marching around our neighborhoods in full riot gear, shooting tear gas, shooting rubber-covered steel bullets directly into people's faces? Are you angry about police? Again, are you angry about police murdering people of color? Are you angry watching U.S. imperialism at the same time also murder millions of people of color in the Middle East? Are you angry paying that outrageous medical bill? Or rather, your inability to even go to the dentist or the doctor or to pay that medical bill? Are you angry that you never can ever make your ends meet while a few people have so much money that they literally own the country? Are you angry about those billionaires with their private planes and their bought and paid for politicians who turn around and give these wealthy even more billions from your tax dollars while you struggle to make ends meet? Are you angry about how capitalism is destroying the planet? In other words, are you happy being a slave? Are you happy being lied to during every international crisis about who your new enemy is? Are you happy with the elections that claim to be democratic but never solve anything, no matter what the politician promised? Are you happy being told that immigrants are taking your jobs when it is actually the bosses that close the factories, fire you, and shift the jobs overseas? Again, are you happy being a slave? My question, do you want to see things change for the better? If you want to see things change for the better, it won't happen because Santa Claus came down the chimney with all those nice gifts. If you want to see change for the better, then you are that change. Yes, you. Nobody else. You. You are that change. Yelling at the TV won't get it done. Let me tell you this. The TV doesn't care. You need to stand up and join the struggle, join the insurgency. Have you seen how thousands in the streets of all our cities, ever since George Floyd was murdered by the cops, how they have changed the political situation in the country? Yes, that's how it's done. People in the streets, not the elections, are what changes political situations. People in the streets are exactly how we got our unions in the first place, and pensions, and Social Security, and civil rights, and Medicare. No, Santa Claus did not give you any of those things. You did in the streets. Today, under these conditions, people are waking up and they're angry, justifiably angry. So now is the time to fight and get things done. Whenever, if you sleep through this, then you can't claim to have done anything to help yourself. Now is the time that we can win Medicare for all. That means you. And that's only one example. I do believe you want Medicare for all. You don't like paying all those bills, do you? I don't. So of course you do. Do you want to end mass incarceration? All those millions of people in prison? For what? I do. I want to end it. Don't you? Don't you want to end the endless wars that have been going on for so long in the Middle East? For what purpose other than to enrich the rich? That are destroying millions of lives. Millions, tens of millions of lives. I want to end that. Don't you? Don't you want to shut down the concentration camps for undocumented immigrants? This is a shameful situation. I want them shut down. Don't you? You're not going to do it from looking at your TV. You're going to have to get in the streets to do that. And of course, don't you want to fight fascism? Are you happy watching these racist white nationalists waving their Confederate flags and carrying machine guns? I want to stop them. Don't you want to stop them? You're not going to do that watching the TV. You got to get up off your butt. Aren't you angry yet? My question to you, what are you going to do during this crisis? You and I know that we're getting screwed by the capitalist system. You got to open, if your eyes are closed to that, open them up. Do you like being screwed so that some billionaire can buy another yacht or private plane? Why do you put up with this crap? You know, you don't have to continue to put up with this crap. people in the street aren't. So, and they're actually changing things. This is positive news. And what is the greatest possible news? It is the news that we are seeing right in front of our eyes, is that the capitalist system is dying. It's a dying system. Even the capitalist rulers know that their system is dying. But they won't go away quietly. You wish wish them away. These vampires will not go away peacefully. There is no miracle, no stake that you could put into the vampires. There's no miracle where they're going to see the light and willingly give up their privileged position and their stolen loot. They won't personally fight them on their own, of course. They never do that. They're not part of this community. They're not part of us. They don't do those fights. Their billions enable them to buy thugs, many of them in blue uniforms, to try to violently put down this movement, to stop it entirely. These capitalist vampires have nightmares. It's not all peace for them too, because they have a worry. They see their system falling down. And the scary beast, the face of the scary beast that they see in their scary nightmares has the face of Karl Marx on it. A man born over 2 centuries ago. For over 2 centuries, no matter what crisis that the capitalist system has had, no matter how long ago Karl Marx died, the corporate media knows that his ideas never died. And these corporate mouthpieces viciously attack whenever and wherever the masses rise up with phony lies and horror stories about communism. It's their nightmare. The word communism, justifiably, yes, scares the bejesus out of the capitalist rulers. It is what causes them to vilify anyone who dares to utter that forbidden word that threatens to kick them off their pedestal and take away their stolen loot. Communism is their nightmare, but it's not your nightmare. Communism represents the liberation of humankind from the exploitation of man by man. Communism has a fearsome effect on the rulers because communism is serious revolution. Communism is organized revolution. Communism is not a game. Communism has proven for a century and a half as the sole successful method for overthrowing capitalism and establishing a state apparatus where the workers, you and me, determine the future. Communism has proven to be the method of unifying people of all races and ethnicities in order to make a successful revolution. Communism has proven in both the USSR and China to be successes. Both countries have the fastest economic growth rates the world has ever seen. Both countries started out mostly peasant and illiterate and transformed into modern and powerful space-age economies in just a few decades, despite war and economic blockades and sabotage. Communism has proven in little poor Cuba, just 90 miles from Florida, that it could take that small, undeveloped and poor country, small and undeveloped and poor country, that has been under a brutal economic blockade by the most powerful imperialist country in the world has ever seen for the last 60 years. Yet it has transformed into a country that has one of the best medical systems and best educational systems on the entire planet, and have a longer lifespan than we do here in this country. And it's a country that is admired all over the world, despite all the propaganda you see on the television from the corporate, I'll call the prostitutes. I was going to use another word, on the capitalist media. Are you aware that poor little Cuba accepts medical students from the United States, under the blockade, from the United States, at Cuba's own expense, maintains them and educates them at their own expense, trains them to be doctors, and then returns them with them giving the promise that they will be doctors in the underserved communities back here in the United States, such as the Bronx, even while there continues to be under that vicious economic blockade, which is, by the way, tightening even more under the vicious Donald Trump administration. Are you aware that Cuba not only does that internally, but sends more doctors every year to health crisis locations all over the world, even into Europe, into Italy, during COVID-19, more than the UN does, despite Cuba being a small island. It does more than the UN, and while it's under an economic blockade. Isn't that incredibly remarkable? Isn't communism remarkable? Because that's what did it. Without that, there is no miracles that I just described. It's communism. Communism means power to the people. Who the people? That's you, that's me. Communism means free public education from pre-K to PhD. The whole thing, free. Communism means free health care. You don't have to worry about your bank account to go to the hospital, where they essentially tell you, you give us your money or go away. Your money or your life. It's a blackmail. Communism means better pay and benefits on the job. It's where unions run the country. Communism means the end of racism and bigotry. Above all, communism means the end of these predatory wars that the U.S. has been waging all over the world, killing millions, creating dozens of, tens of dozens of millions of refugees. Hey, how about your living space? Communism means a decent housing for all. And of course, communism means community control, not billionaire control of your community and our nation. Communism means that women will have equal protection and the right to control their own bodies. Communism means that LGBTQ people can love and marry whomever they choose, and that all of society welcomes and protects them. Communism means that the Aboriginal people's rights will be respected, and that every effort will be made to make amends for the bloody genocide that they were subjected to. Communism means that reparations resulting from slavery and Jim Crow will be required to make amends for centuries of oppression of the black community. Communism means that the southern border wall will be torn down and refugees accepted with love and open arms and full citizenship. Communism means the freeing of all those arrested for doing drugs. Drug use is a medical issue, not a criminal issue. The war on drugs was created by President Nixon in order to destroy the communities of color. Communism means putting maximum funding and personnel into helping heavy drug users get off their addiction. Drug use is a serious community issue that must not be used as an excuse to destroy people's lives by throwing them in jails and as an excuse for creating huge police forces and giant prisons that only further destroy our communities. Communism is about caring for your families and your community. Vicious capitalism is about exploiting you, squeezing every dollar out of you and your family and your community for the vampire capitalist's personal gain. Under capitalism, you work for the boss, who hired you in order to steal a portion of your money from your paycheck. That's right, the boss is a thief. The boss wouldn't hire you unless there was something in it for the boss. You created the value. The boss steals what you produced and then gives you back in your paycheck only a portion of what you actually produced. Therefore, capitalism is all about profit before people, whereas communism is all about people before profit. Communism means equality for all and a better life for all, not just the tiny, tiny few. So what's wrong with equality for all and a decent life for all? Isn't that what we want? Isn't that what you want? I know that is what we need. So why aren't you in a communist party? Do you like being a slave? Do you like seeing how the vampire billionaires are getting richer and richer every single day, while the average person is getting screwed? And you know that they're getting screwed. You're getting screwed. I don't think you like it. You don't like getting screwed, do you? I think that you see what I see, and you are not so pleased by what's been going on. You and I know that this terrible situation has to change. It must change. And it depends on you, like I said. So why don't you get involved? Now, you think there's a place I'm going to point you to go to? No. I won't be giving you a name and a place or a post office box to go to. That's not how it works. You see those mass demonstrations in every city, and all the smaller demonstrations and the forums and the meetings that have been taking place? Join them. Most people in those demonstrations are just like you. They're brand new to the struggle. They don't know. All they know that they're angry, and they know that racism's there and they gotta fight it. They just know that they're being screwed just like you. But they don't know who is who or what is what. They're there because they've awakened. Are you going to awaken? That's what my question is to you. Because it's only experience, not yelling at the TV, it's only experience that can show you the way forward. The reason why I am unable to point you to a mass communist organization is simply because there is not yet a mass communist organization in the United States. No matter what the nightmares of the ruling class, we haven't been able to develop that as of yet. The masses that are just beginning to awaken. They haven't yet converged around any central leadership yet. That comes later. That's something for the future as the masses, you and I, gain experience and find out who the leaders are that are the ones that we choose to speak for us. In the struggle, you will learn what to do, because it's up to you. It's not up to you, even to the leaders that you want to. Don't think that, we find a leader, that's it. No, doesn't work that way. You are the struggle. You are the masses. Without you, no leader can do anything. It's in that struggle you will learn what to do and who your real comrades are. Who will go the distance and who will just fade into the background. And that's how you develop comradeship and develop an understanding, and the masses will start to find out who their leaders are, and hopefully we will be able to pull together and win. Our movement, as I said, is just a baby learning how to walk. This baby is just learning how to walk. This baby will find a way towards creating that communist movement. And we unify everybody into a more cohesive and powerful fist. That's the communist salute, the fist, with a unified program of action. That's how we get to a unified communist movement. Communism is not something hatched in somebody's cellar. Communism arises as a necessity of the very struggle we're in, not some sort of little conspiracy. It arises from this, what you see in all those mass struggles. Serious leaders in community and national struggles against the vampire capitalist ruling class inevitably come to a point where, if they're serious, that they're convinced that Marxism is the weapon. It's the real weapon that gives us the most powerful weapon to win. If you join this struggle, you will find that communism is the North Star for ultimate victory. But I'm no Pollyanna. These are difficult times. We are entering a period of economic crisis, and economic crisis leads to serious external military and serious internal social crises that are very, very dangerous. Everyone will be affected, whether you or I like it or not. There's not going to be a way to say, I'm going to hide around. It doesn't work that way. Life and death issues may not be able to be avoided. We have today a vile, vicious and vile, racist, misogynist con man, Donald Trump, in the White House, who is trying to create a fascist movement in this country. Fascism is not to be played with. Fascism is the threat of mass murder by the slave master ruling class against you, against me, and against every right and benefit won by the masses in over a century of struggle. It is that vicious. When Hitler began his rise in Germany, is there any way that any German could have avoided taking sides? Refusal to take sides was not an option in regard to fascism in Germany. Every union in Germany was smashed. That was its purpose. Smash every worker's rights to anything. Every union was smashed. Every gain won over decades by German working people was lost when fascism triumphed. We are not yet at that point where Germany was. No, fascism is not here, but it's on the horizon. You can see the writing on the wall. can't you? You can't see where we might be headed unless we do something. I don't want to go down that same road as fell Journey. Do you? I don't think you do, and I know I don't. We don't want to go down that road. We're not there yet. I don't want to claim that we are. But if you wait until it's actually here, that's when it's already too late. You got to that baby. Once it gets going, it's going to be hard to stop. You got to hit it hard, hit it early. Even Hitler said so in his own. He stated it outright. Had they understood what I was about and hit me early, it'd been a different story. But they didn't. So here I am. No, we don't want to let them get away with that. And the November election, fine and dandy, okay, but that's not going to save the economy from a free fall, from the pandemic, from foreign wars and internal racism and fascism. Yeah, I want to see. Don't get me wrong. I want to see Donald Trump going as much as you do. But I recognize that when he's gone, the problem still is going to be there. And I think if you look carefully, you'll realize it'll still be there. There's a third of this country who are not exactly progressive, as you know what I mean. Don't get me wrong, but getting rid of Donald Trump, while nice, is not defeating the system. And the system is what produced him. There's a lot more than just this one vile man, this one vile, corrupt man being produced by the system. The system produces naturally racism and fascism. So isn't it about time to get serious now, before it's too late? The threat of fascism, not the reality. The threat of fascism won't go away simply because that one violent, corrupt individual lost an election. If you think the Democratic Party will save us, I have a bridge to sell you, real cheap. There is no alternative. Let's get serious. Let's build a super strong movement today that is unified against capitalism. We can do that. We are the 99.9%. They are the 0.01%. Their system is crumbling right before our eyes. If we are unified, we're the overwhelming majority, then their money can't save them. Now is the time to act. We can do this. Seize the time. Join the struggle. And in the struggle, become a communist and help our class, the workers and the oppressed, to defeat the vampire capitalist ruling class once and for all. If we do so, we will be victorious. A new world is in birth. Let's do it. Si se puede.